All right, good evening. Let us come to order and go on the record. I am Tanola D. Brown Bland, the presiding commissioner with the North Carolina Utilities Commission, who will be presiding over this proceeding tonight. Joining me by remote means over WebEx are Commissioners Daniel G. Clodfelter and Kimberly W. Duffley. This public hearing began earlier this afternoon, and this is the second session of the public hearing. We now resume the public hearing in docket number W-354, sub 384, in the matter of the application of Carolina Water Service, Inc. of North Carolina, CWSNC, for an adjustment of rates, charges, and tariffs applicable to service in North Carolina. Before we proceed further, and is required by the State Government Ethics Act, I remind members of the Commission of our duty to avoid conflicts of interest and inquire at this time as to whether any commissioner has any known conflict of interest with respect to this docket. The record will reflect that no conflicts were identified. On July 2nd, 2021, CWSNC filed an application with the Commission seeking authority to increase its rates for providing water and sewer utility service in all of its service areas in North Carolina. The intervention and participation of the public staff in this rate case proceeding is recognized pursuant to North Carolina General Statute and Commission rules. The public staff is the consumer advocate and represents the using and consuming public, that is, the company's customers. During the course of this rate case, the public staff will conduct an extensive audit of the data underlying the company's request and will make its own independent recommendations to the Commission regarding the company's request to increase its rates. On October the 8th, 2021, the Commission issued an order scheduling investigation and hearings, establishing intervention and testimony due dates and discovery guidelines, and requiring public notice. The order scheduled 2 public witness hearings to be held by remote means on this date and an expert witness hearing to begin on December 7th, 2021. That brings us to this evening. The purpose of this evening's hearing is to hear from the company's customers regarding customer concerns about the company's request in this case, or about the quality of service that CWSNC provides. Before going further, I will discuss a little about the procedures for this hearing, and I urge you to listen carefully so that testifying witnesses can abide by these procedures. First, public witnesses will be appearing by audio connection only. Commissioners and attorneys will be appearing by video and audio connection. Any public witnesses who wish to view a live video of the proceeding may access it by computer using YouTube, which is linked from the Commission's homepage at www.ncuc.net. However, to avoid feedback, be sure to mute your computer when you are called on and unmuted to testify. This hearing is being transcribed by a court reporter, and so it is important that we do all we can to limit any interference with her ability to hear me and those who testify. So, unless you are providing testimony, you will be muted by our WebEx administrator. Public witnesses will be called on to testify in the order that you have called in, and when it is your turn to speak, you will be unmuted by our WebEx administrator. You will hear 2 beeps on your phone line indicating that you have been unmuted. At that time, I will ask the witness to state his or her name. To ensure that this hearing runs as efficiently as possible, please pay close attention during the course of the hearing and be ready to respond as soon as you hear the beeps unmuting your phone line. Once a witness gives his or her name, I will ask that you affirm that the testimony you give will be the truth. And once the witness has given that affirmation, the attorney for the public staff will ask the witness identifying information for the record and indicate when the witness may proceed to testify. Our hearing this evening ends no later than 10:30 tonight or earlier if we have heard from all witnesses before then. Each witness will have 2 minutes to testify, given the number of witnesses that have registered. Counsel for the parties and the commissioners may ask questions of the witnesses. These questions will be to clarify and be sure we have understood the testimony offered. The questions are not being asked to embarrass or argue with you. And finally, please be aware that CWSNC, after the close of this session of the public hearing, will respond in writing by making a filing with the commission, responding to the matters that we hear from the witnesses tonight. One other thing, given the number that we do have, should the witnesses become satisfied or begin to hear that witnesses preceding you have given the testimony that you wish to give, you do not have to go forward, but you certainly are welcome to bring out different points or to indicate that you agree. After you've been given a oath of affirmation, just indicate that you agree with a particular witness or parts of witness statements. In other words, repetition, while we're willing and welcome to, you're welcome to give it and we're willing to hear it, it does not necessarily change matters or improve things. We will hear it the first time. And so if you adopt another witness's testimony, that may save you some time. So that all of your fellow customers will have an opportunity to provide testimony. And so with that, I'll call on the parties to announce their appearances for the record, and I will start with the applicant, CWSNC.
Thank you, Commissioner. My name is Mark Allison with the law firm of Ice Miller, representing the applicant, Carolina Water Service, Inc. of North Carolina. I'm joined this evening by my colleague, Kay Pashas, as well as Joanne Sanford, also representing the applicant. We are also joined tonight by company representatives, including Don Denton, the president of Carolina Water Service, as well as other company representatives, including Phil Drennan and Dana Hill. Company's representatives are here not just to listen to the comments of the public, but also to be able to potentially address those voiced concerns of the customers, if that is amenable to the customers and or the commission. And with that, we look forward to the testimony. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Allison. And the public staff?
Yes, Chair Brown Bland, John Little, staff attorney with the public staff. Also appearing today is Menashe Maga-Rira. He's also a staff attorney, and Lindsay Darden, engineer with the public staff water division.
All right, thank you, Mr. Little. I'm just getting that down. Now, before we begin, are there any preliminary matters, and does the company wish to make any opening statement to its customers for the record?
I do not believe so, Commissioner. Thank you.
All right, well, with that, Mr. McCoy, will you go forward and unmute the first witness?
Hello?
Hello, please state your name for the record.
Hello, my name is Robert Harris, and I'm representing the Elk River Property Owners Association in Banner Elk, North Carolina.
All right, Mr. Little, I believe we'll have some questions for you. Oh, excuse me, Mr. Little, I forgot. Mr. Harris, do you affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, now, Mr. Little.
Okay, Mr. Harris, you are representing a homeowners association?
Yes, it's the Property Owners Association.
And give us are you a member or a resident?
Yes, I am a resident and a member.
And are you, what address? For,
My personal address is 78 Summit Park Drive, Banner Elk, North Carolina, 28604.
and is the Property Owners Association, are you a customer of Carolina Water Service?
Yes, we represent close to 290 property owners, as well as a clubhouse and various facilities of the clubhouse, such as the potable water for golf course, for the dog park, for our equestrian center, and our tennis center.
Is this all one subdivision or development, or is it multiple developments?
It's all one.
All one. And what would you like to tell the commission tonight, sir?
Well, I realize this is a rate hearing, and if ordinarily we wouldn't even be asking to testify, but we're really talking about service tonight. In the past 6 months, we've had 6 breaks. And as we stated in our letter, while they're quickly fixed, quickly is a relative term. Sometimes it's up to 6 to 8 hours that our homeowners are without water. Additionally, what has to happen is once because we draw from wells on property, they have to refill the main tanks before we have any pressure. So what's happening is our members are getting very irritated. We've had members come to us to ask permission to drill their own wells, have their own wells drilled, because it's becoming an issue. Secondly, we have a problem with, we've been told we need a new well, which Carolina Water is supposed to be putting in. The site's available, but it's been over a year, just over a year since that we were told, and there's been no action on that. We also had a pump go out, and we've been told there's a second pump that needs to be replaced. Well, I look at this and say, when you're running a regulated monopoly, it's a beautiful situation, but you should also be able to have the parts available to service us. And when these water breaks occur, and many of them are occurring in the same area on a particular street, and it seems like there would be something done. We had one just a few weeks ago, the 22nd of October, which caused quite a bit of problems, and they tear up the roads. Is that my 2 minutes?
That's just that you have 15 seconds left, but
Okay.
but I would I'll give you some leeway to continue since you're on behalf of the Property Owners Association.
Well, I mean, the issue of the pump, it's on the, I'm going to use the word on the fritz, not being replaced immediately is just not right, because that pump is the one that fills an area where the biggest tank gets drained the most. But that in the well, we don't actually object to the rate increase if we were getting service, but that's the real problem. We're not getting the service. I'm through, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Little. Do you have any further questions?
Mr. Harris, have you said that the Carolina has fixed the brakes? Have you had any conversations about any long-term plans with the company about why your mains are breaking and what's being done?
No, and I'm here with our general manager of the Property Owners Association, and this is it's an ongoing issue of getting the lines fixed, determining there's one street in particular, but unfortunately it drains everything above it. When it breaks, it drains all of our water, and I happen to be in that area where that tank is that drains it completely. So I mean, I don't know the exact size of those tanks, but I'm guessing they're 10,000, 100,000 gallon tanks. There's 100,000 gallons of water gone.
Aside from reporting the breaks, have you tried to talk to the company about longer term solutions?
Yes, not me personally. Our general manager, who's here with me, has conversations. As I say, this well has been in discussion for over a year, but there's no action. And the problem is at 4th of July, we have approximately, I think it's 800 to 900 residents and families here. And they have to write and tell us every year that they can't keep the pressure up, so that we have to, limit the use of water and be very, not that anybody's here wasting water, but the reality is that, this is a very, it's an expensive subdivision, I'd call it, club. And it's kind of embarrassing when you have house guests and you have to tell them, well, we can't take showers today.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. That's all the questions I have.
All right. Mr. Allison, do you have questions?
No questions. Thank you.
Questions from the commissioners? Mr. Harris, thank you for your testimony, and you are excused.
Thank you very much for representing the public.
Thank you. All right.
Yes, this is Audrey Smith.
Smith? Audrey Smith?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right. Mr. Little has some questions for you.
Ms.
Thank
Smith,
you.
can you tell us your address and whether you're a Carolina Water Service customer, whether you have water and sewer or just water?
Okay, my address is 12312 Danby Road, and that's in Pineville, and it's in the Danby subdivision. And I do have both sewage and water with Carolina Water Service.
And what would you like to tell the commission tonight?
Well, first of all, thank you for even allowing us to talk. If nothing else, the pandemic has allowed us that cannot get to Raleigh to say anything at these meetings to be able to say something now. I am 76 years old. I live on Social Security and a part-time job. My water bill every year in the last 20 years I've been here in Danby has gone up. It's kind of like a rubber stamp for Carolina Waters because we can't testify. So I do want to thank you for that. I did contact Charlotte Water in the city of Charlotte, but they cannot infringe on a private water company. So we have no choice but to have Carolina Water Service. I buy bottled water to drink and to cook with. I wash all my clothes in cold water so that I can combine loads. I've done everything to keep my water bill as low as I can. And my water bill in a 1,300 square foot home for one person is $115 average a month. I don't think that this is the time that we need to rubber stamp an increase for Carolina Water. We can't go back and get the money that we've already paid. But I do think that this year, at least, they should be denied their increase. They have done no improvements in the 20 years I've been here in Danby subdivision to any of the water lines until they break. And that's basically all I need to say.
Ms. Smith, I heard you say that you buy bottled water to drink and cook in. Why do you use bottled water?
I do that for two reasons. One, the water does not taste very well here. I do have a water softener that I installed about 12 years ago, but I use that for cooking and for drinking, and it's still my average water bill, is $110, $115. I've had both of my toilets changed out to conserve water, and it just keeps going up and up and up.
And you said the water doesn't taste very good. Have you reached out to Carolina Water Service about the taste of your water?
To be honest, no, I have not. I get the little brochures that they send out every year that says they test it and there's nothing in it that's going to hurt me. So I guess that's the thing that concerns me most. If it's not going to hurt, if they tell me it's not going to hurt me, then I'm okay, and I just won't drink the water. I'll bathe in it do my laundry, but I'm not going to drink it.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. That's all I have.
Any questions from the company?
No questions. Thank you.
Questions from the commissioners? Smith, would it be fair to say that, or a fair characterization that you don't have a quarrel with the service quality, but you wanted us to hear that you would like us to deny the rate increase?
Well, the only service that I've ever had is when the water pipe on the other side of my meter broke. It just took them, about 2 weeks to fix it, which was water going down the drain. But to be honest with you, I've never really called them. In the past, it seems like it was kind of futile to do that because they're going to do whatever they want to do when they want to do it. I do find it interesting that the representative for Carolina Water Service in the hearing I watched today at 1:30 and so far tonight doesn't seem to have any questions for us consumers. I think that speaks volumes. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Smith, and you may be excused.
Thank you.
All right. We have our next witness.
Hi, yes. My name is Aubrey Pham.
Could you repeat your name, please?
Yes, it's Aubrey Pham.
All right. Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
All right, Mr. Little.
Ms. Pham, give us your address and whether you're a Carolina Water Service customer with water and sewer or just water.
All right, my address is 12301 Woodside Falls Road, and that's in Pineville, North Carolina, 28134, and we are water and sewage.
And what would you like to tell the commission tonight?
I really just wanted to share my voice and just, share some concerns. So we actually lived a couple miles down the road in Valentine, and we were with Charlotte Water, and our bill each month was approximately $40 a month. We moved here into Woodside Falls neighborhood in Pineville in 2017, and our water bill started at $100, and now this past month it's $145. And, we're not excessive in our water usage, so I think that's pretty expensive. And I'm just trying to figure out, how this is sustainable. We moved into this home to raise our family and for it to be our forever home. And I just would like some transparency and why the increases keep happening. So I guess that's my ask, is why we keep getting these increases and how long this is going to keep going on. And that's really it.
Mr. Little, you have any follow-up?
No follow-up questions, Your Honor.
Any questions from the company?
No questions. Thank you.
Questions from commissioners? All right, Ms. Pham, thank you for coming out tonight. We encourage you to continue to follow this proceeding at our website using the docket number for this case. You may be
Thank you so much.
excused. You may be excused. Next witness.
Hi, yes, this is Renee Davey.
All right. Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you'll give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
All right, Mr. Little.
Ms. Davey, would you give us your address and whether you're a Carolina Water customer?
Address is 12316 Delcourt Lane, Pineville, and it's in the Danby subdivision, and we're water and sewer.
What would you like to tell the commission tonight?
Okay, currently my family of 3 pays $87.83 a month just to be allowed the access to water. if this rate increase is approved, that fee for access jumps to $95.09. How is this affordable? Danby and the surrounding area is filled with low-income and fixed-income residents. We have no choice on who provides us our water access, and water should never be a monopoly. We have lived here for over 18 years. We never drink the water due to the horrible taste and the debris that's often visible in the water. So every week we purchase 3 jugs of 2.5 gallons of water. We've had to replace faucets and appliances due to the hardness of the water and the calcium buildup. And I've decided to present this argument against this rate increase based off a 5-year span, since this is a yearly occurrence with Carolina Water Service. In 2017, our water base rate was $22.40. The water per 1,000-gallon rate was $6.40. Our wastewater base rate was $42.40, and the wastewater per 1,000-gallon base rate was $2.90. My total October 2017 water bill with 3,920 gallons of use was $101.26. You take that usage and apply it to the proposed rate increase, my bill would be $151.62. That's a 49% increase over 5 years. Since 2017, what improvements have been made to our system to account for a 49% increase in our water bill? Have they installed any infrastructure to help with the hardness of our water, the taste of our water, and any new technologies to clean the water? The North
Continue.
Carolina Utilities, can I finish?
Yes, continue, Ms. Davey.
Okay.
Just wrapping up, but
Okay, I'm almost done. The North
Okay.
Carolina Utilities Commission has just been rubber stamping Carolina Water Service rate increase request without Carolina Water Service providing any infrastructure upgrades to their customers. Until they can show where all this money is going, they should not be allowed any more increase to their rates. I'm done.
all right, Mr. Little, any follow-up
No follow-up, Your Honor.
from the company?
No questions. Thank you.
Questions from the commission? All right, Ms. Davey, again, thank you for coming out, and you may be excused.
Thank you very much.
Next witness.
Ms. Nancy Dean,
All right, do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, Mr. Little.
Yes, did you say Nancy Dean? You were a little bit garbled, I'm sorry.
Yes, Nancy Dean, D-E-A-N-E.
Thank you. Ms. Dean, would you give us your address and whether or not you're a customer of Carolina Water Service?
I'm a sewer only, I believe, since I pay Craven County Water for the water.
What area or subdivision do you live in? So we better-
I'm in New Bern in Carolina Pines.
And what would you like to tell the commission tonight?
Ms. Dean,
Oh.
before you go further, just be sure you speak up and speak clearly so our court reporter can hear you. You're just a little bit muffled.
Okay, is that better?
That's better, and please continue.
Okay. Okay, being limited to 2 minutes makes me believe that this commission cares very little about public witness testimony in contravention of one of its primary mandates, and that is to provide fair regulation of public utilities in the interest of the public. Nevertheless, please hear me. If this increase is approved, my sewer bill will be $1,000 a year. That's for a single retired senior with health issues on a fixed income with no additional income possibility for a second time during this pandemic. This increase is more than 5 times the rate of inflation over the past 12 years. This commission apparently does not take into account what impact these rate increases have on consumers, especially consumers like me. You have not denied CWS a rate increase in over 16 years, regardless of how much of an increase CWS asks for. While I have been paying the same rate for water from Craven County over the last 12 years with no increases, my sewer will have increased 155% if this rate increase is approved. Finally, please start looking out for North Carolina customers and stop allowing yourselves to be used by the utilities industry. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Little, do you have any questions?
No questions.
The company?
No questions, Commissioner. Thank you.
Any questions from commissioners? All right, Ms. Dean, we encourage you to continue to follow along with this proceeding by going to our website and following using the docket number for this case. There will be expert witness testimony filed by the public staff, and you'll be able to see the company's response to tonight and everything else that happens in this case from beginning to end. With that, you may be. Thank you for coming out, and you may be excused. Next witness.
Hello,
Hello, please state your name.
Brenda Robertson.
All right, Ms. Robinson, do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, Mr. Little.
Ms. Robertson, will you tell us your address and whether or not you're a Carolina Water Service customer?
We are a water service customer, both sewer and water. We own a property up at Sugartop, condo, and I think the address is 303 Sugartop Drive, Sugar Mountain, North Carolina.
And what would you like to tell the commission tonight?
I've looked back over my bills, and our condo is about or a little less than 1,000 square foot. We have replaced both of our toilets to be the Saver toilets. We also have new shower heads, so it's got the aeration in it. We also have new faucets. My bills so far this year, every one of them has been over $100. I've only had 1 month that was less than $100, and it was 80-some dollars. I do not feel that Carolina Water is being a good steward of our money. I say our money because as a customer, we're paying into that. They keep year after year increasing our prices, but I don't see any return in that other than they keep draining us of our money. Where it's going, what they're using it for, I have no clue. And, you know, I'm at a loss for words because locally here where we live, we have a public water system. We use all the water that we want to. We have a house that's over 2,000 square foot with 3 bathrooms, you know, washing machine, sinks, everything. I even water my garden, $25 a month. We are also held at the same standard that Carolina Water is with the testing of the water. We are held at the same level of making sure that the water is drinkable that they are. And how, you know, the difference and disparity between the two, I am at a loss.
All right, you may continue. Just move on towards the end.
But I'm asking that the commission not allow the increase because, like I said, in my heart, I do not feel that Carolina Water is being a good steward of the money that they keep getting month after month.
All right, Mr. Little, any questions?
And that's all I have to say.
Ms. Robertson, you don't live full-time at the address where you're a Carolina Water?
I do not. I do not.
And how much is your monthly water bill?
Every month it's been over $100, and I've only had 1 month in which it was in the 80s.
And is that water and sewer? Did you say you were a sewer customer?
It's water
also?
and yes, it's water and sewer. But in saying that, we have the Water Saver toilets. We have new air raid shower heads that has a reduced flow of water because of the way it's constructed, and also our faucets for our sinks.
Thank you. That's all I have.
All right.
Thank you.
Any questions from the company?
No questions. Thank you.
From the commissioners? Commissioner Duffley?
Thank you for coming tonight. My question is, who is your permanent residence water company?
Well, it's not a company, it's a community water association.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And Ms. Robertson, where is that? Where's that? Where do you live?
It's in Duplin County.
All right, also in North Carolina.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Any questions on commissioners' questions? Seeing none, thank you, Ms. Robertson, for coming out, and you may be excused.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next witness, please. Do we have our next witness?
Hello?
Hello, would you please state your name for the record?
Jennifer Nelson with Covington Cross Homeowners Association.
All right. Ms. Nelson, do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you'll give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, Mr.
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Little will set you up with some identifying questions.
Okay.
Ms. Nelson, tell us the subdivision, the homeowners association that you represent, the name of it.
Covington Cross Homeowners Association.
And where is that located?
Smithfield Road in Knightdale, North Carolina.
And
we
how many
use
residences are there?
103.
And are you Carolina Water Service water customers?
Water and sewer.
Okay. Now tell us what you would like the commission to hear, please.
We recently had an HOA meeting, and this is a response from our community as a whole. The water business has been a booming investment for private companies over the last couple of decades. Private water companies have steadily increased their market share of water systems to 15% from 10%, mainly by taking advantage of state legislation efforts that have changed how public assets are valued. North Carolina is one of 13 states since 2018 that has passed fair market legislation, which allows companies to factor in future value of a utility, pay above this price, and then pass it along to its customers. Before, the legislation regulated utilities were limited to including only the original depreciated cost of systems in their rate base, which became a regulatory barrier to a sale. We, the 103 homeowners in Covington Cross subdivision, are against an increase in our area. Homes are averaging $50 to $60 for water and the same amount for sewer, which is exceptionally high. We are currently paying $4.59 per 1,000 gallons for wastewater and $8.27 per 1,000 gallons for water service. We believe Utilities, Inc. has the budget to improve its infrastructure or the expertise to run a water utility efficiency without an increase. On October the 1st, 2021, there was a rate change of 1.0% water service and 0.86 for sewer service. The question is the fair market value fair? We need to review the needed North Carolina statutes and rules, which include House Bill 351, which was in 2018, setting valuation guidelines for water system acquisitions, petition for rulemaking NCU W-100 sub 60 regarding valuation procedures, NCUC rulemaking on their fair value for water wastewater systems in 2020. Ratepayers pay roughly 59% more for water under private systems than government-owned utilities, and capital financing costs that can be as much as 150% higher. It is not the homeowner's fault or responsibility that utility owners have not made adequate ongoing investments in their infrastructure, whereas the company makes these investments that could hike rates. As a community, we stand firm that we are against a rate increase. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Little, do you have any follow-up questions?
No questions.
Questions from the company?
No questions. Thank you.
Come to commissioners? All right, Ms. Nelson, we thank you for coming out on behalf of the homeowners, and you may be excused.
Okay, thank you.
Next witness, please.
Connor.
All right, welcome, and do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, Mr. Little?
Mr. Connor, would you give us your address and whether or not you're a Carolina Water Service customer, please?
It's 231 Long John Silver Drive, Wilmington, North Carolina, Treasure Cove subdivision, water only.
And what would you like to tell the commission tonight, sir?
There's no justification for a 28% increase in the base charge or 34% increase per 1,000 gallons. Under docket W-354 subs 364A, CWS was given a water system improvement charge not to exceed 5% of as April 1st, 2021. No improvements have been noted or cannot be justified. While I've been here, there have been, in the last 20 years, there have been no obvious improvements other than a generator on well number 1, construction of small buildings over the pumps, and chain link fencing. No generator has been added to well number 2. Well number 1 is in a flood zone, has the potential to be shut down in extreme weather events with no backup available. The house across from well number 1 was recently demolished after multiple flooding events and was purchased by the flood insurance program. The system has to be one of the easiest locations to maintain due to topography, sandy soil. Even without the upgrades, it should be minimal compared to most other areas of the state that must deal with clay, rocks, and altitude variations. The water is pumped from the Castlehane Aquifer. It's a public resource belonging to everyone. They do not have to pay for or pipe the water to other locations like many other utilities. Most of the distribution system consists of equipment that was installed 30 to 40 years ago. There have been very few upgrades or improvements. The water pressure is inconsistent as they keep adding houses. I would think the system is at near overcapacity. Heavy mineral content that appears to be calcium, magnesium, and iron. CWS has previously stated they have no plans to improve that part of the system. There is no treatment other than occasional chlorine. Due to heavy mineral content, toilets, faucets, everything has to be replaced frequently. I've had 2 pipe breaks in the last 11 months, costing me about $10,000. We cannot wash vehicles, boats, because if it's not immediately dried, it leaves deposits. We use bottled water for drinking. It's cost over $50 a month. CWS states that the average is $41.40 a month. My house with 2 adults averages over $6,700 per month. This is with no leaks, no car, no boat washing, water saving faucets, toilet, shower heads, rain barrel. I've never been able to obtain a profit and loss specific to Treasure Cove. This Treasure Cove should not be used to offset other problems or losses on other systems. Based on the information I have, they last tested for Gen X and fluorinated compounds in 2017. There are new EPA guidelines coming up, and it appears that those tests should be more frequent. There's no logical reason to allow a 24 or 34% increase. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Connor. And just so everyone knows, I neglected to say at the beginning, when you hear the tone, that means you have about 15 seconds left. And if you would move to wrapping up, it would make sure that we can get to everyone who is calling in who wishes to testify.
Thank you.
Mr. Little, do you have questions for Mr. Connor? And Mr. Connor, your name is that Danny Connor?
That's correct.
All right, Mr. Little, you have questions for Mr.
No questions, Your Honor.
Any other questions for this witness?
No questions. Thank you.
All right. There being no questions, Mr. Connor, thank you for coming out, and you may be excused.
Thank you.
Next witness.
Sarah Hornby.
Welcome, and do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
All right. Mr. Little?
Ms. Hornby, would you give us your address and tell us whether or not you're a Carolina Service water customer or sewer customer or both?
My address is 16317 Woolwine Road, Charlotte, North Carolina, in the River Point Homeowners Subdivision. And I am a Carolina Water Services customer for both sewer and water because we are, as everyone has previously said, monopolized in here.
And what would you like to tell the commission tonight?
Well, I think pretty much everyone before me stated similar points of view, but I just wanted to add that I was on a water committee that was put in place by the board of directors back in 2005. I've been resident here for 22 years, and I have seen most of the increases and the horrors. We were asked at that time to find a solution for the bad service, bad quality, and excuse me, sorry, allergies. And we actually, because of the Palisades across the road, across from Highway 49, were suggested that we negotiated with them to take over our complete systems. Carolina Water refused to allow them to take over the sewage. They only agreed to the water, and of course, knowing that that CMUD wouldn't take without taking both of them. I have records back to 1999, which unfortunately I couldn't access because my filing cabinet froze, but I have records from 2015 through, and I'll give you the numbers through to the year end of 2020. We have a standing water supply baseline of 2892, sewers of 5891, which are 28, 29%, and 39% increases over the January of 2015. That gives us a total of $87.83 a month before we even turn on a tap or flush a toilet. Now, I also am an old age pensioner subsisting on Social Security. My water bill, and I do not use a lot of water because I have a skin issue, so my bathing is restricted to once a week. My other usage is for drinking with a water system. And my bills are over $105 average per month. If I had CMUD supply at $4.22 for the water and also the same for the sewer, with their cost prediction for 2021 and 2022 year, my total for this property would be $21.76 a month. I also feel that we are paying for issues that CWS has had with other homeowners associations where they've been thrown out and either the homeowners or other suppliers have taken over, and we apparently cannot oust them from River Point. I just wanted to add to the request that you do not give them an increase. We were given an increase in here on the 26th of September, and a week later we got notice of this hearing. And I believe that's at least a request for the third increase this year, I believe. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak, and I also reiterate that it's nice to be able to do it on the phone because access to Raleigh is not so easy. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll take note of that. Are there follow-up questions?
No questions.
Any other questions for this witness?
No questions. Thank you.
All right. Dr. Hornby, you may be excused. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you very much indeed.
All right. Next witness, please.
Hello.
Hello, please state your name for the record.
My name is Joe Mahaffey.
All right, and do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, Mr. Little.
Mr. Mahaffey, would you tell us your address, the area that you live in, and whether or not you're a customer of Carolina Water Service?
14517 Limestone Lane, Pineville, North Carolina. I am in the Woodside Falls community. I am a water and sewer customer of Carolina Water, and I have been so for 27 years. So my fellow citizens have made some really good cases, and so I just would like to elaborate on some of those. In the Woodside Falls community this year, we had a water break at the front of the neighborhood that remained unrepaired, although reported, remained unrepaired for over 2 months, and drained water to the point that it damaged our roads, and it continually went down the street. We have consistent inaccuracies and meter readings from Carolina Water employees that creates dramatic fluctuations in our water bills from month to month. The low end for me in the last 12 to 24 months during the pandemic has probably been $130. The high end has been $228. The number of residents in this location have not changed. However, the inconsistency of the meter read and the employees that do not take the time to do it accurately has been a part of the problem. We have gotten to the point where our bills are over $100 higher than our neighbors across the street who live in the city of Charlotte, and we are beginning to wonder collectively as a unit if being outside of the city limits and the tax benefits that gives us is no longer worth it, because we're paying for it in terms of water that is hard, as has been previously implied, has ruined our appliances consistently and makes our toilets have to be replaced on a much more consistent basis. I would be encouraging this commission not to approve any increase for Carolina Water Service. They've already had numerous increases over the previous months and years, as has been previously noted, and there have been little to no improvements from an infrastructure, quality, or even care for their customers from our perspective. That is all I have, and I appreciate this forum listening to us citizens, and I ask this commission to not rubber stamp this increase request.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mahaffey. Mr. Little, you have any questions?
This, you mentioned inaccurate meters. Have you experienced an inaccurate meter, or is this something that's been relayed to you from neighbors or other residents?
I have experienced it personally. My neighbors on this street and others in the neighborhood who I've talked to about this have also experienced this. It's either fluctuations due to misreading, or there have been inaccurate readings. It is clearly an infrastructure and a resource issue, as well as all of the other things. So I'm adding to the story, not saying this is our story.
And have you approached Carolina Water Service about your meter? And
yes, we all have. There's a cluster of us on our street that have actually dealt with Carolina Water on this on multiple occasions. Some people have had their meters replaced, some have not. But the outcome has been the same regardless of the status of the meter. I have a meter that's been here when my house was built 27 years ago. My neighbor across the street has had a meter put in the last 18 months. The outcomes have been exactly the same, and the inaccuracies have been the same. And that, on top of the fact that they do not repair things in a timely fashion, like a major leak that is a water main leak that ruined our roads and depleted resources. I mean, obviously, we have a well system here in Woodside Falls as well. So that water that leaked was water that was under all of our collective properties that was just literally drained away because they did not create a sense of urgency around solving these problems. And so my sense is that there is a comprehensive problem within the Carolina Water Service enterprise, in the sense that they are not making their customers a priority, and they are not being good stewards of the limited resources that we have in our environment, which water is the most paramount thing. And the fact that we are relying on well water that resides under our communities, that is here as a part of our water table, they should be doing a much better job of that, particularly what they're charging us. They should be able to pay for it. And so again, I reiterate my desire for them not to receive this increase until they can show that they have a sense of clear understanding of what it takes to manage our resources.
Thank you, Ms. Mahaffey. I have no further questions.
Does the company have questions for Mr. Mahaffey?
No, ma'am, we do not. And this is Joanne Sanford stepping in for Mr. Alston. And so that we're not so mysterious or disruptive here, a fire alarm has gone off in his building. So we have switched control of the chair here. We thank the witness for appearing and we have no questions.
Right,
Thank you, ma'am, and I hope everything is safe for him and his location.
Thank
any
you.
questions from the commissioners? Commissioners have any questions? Mr. Mahaffey, just two questions. Could you establish for us the dates on the main water break that you were speaking about?
Yes, ma'am. I want to say, I can't give you precise dates. I can tell you that it occurred earlier in the summer, in the June-ish timeframe, and it was not corrected until later in the summer in the August-September timeframe. And even when they came in and did the repair, which they did, and they repaved the repair, they did it in such a way that we now have this atrocious speed bump going in and out of our neighborhood, as opposed to doing it. Basically, they contracted it to a family. It looked like a dad and his daughters out there covering up the pavement. So clearly, they're not making the investment in a professional repair when they do the repair.
All right, and my second question concerns the inaccurate meter reading or either the inaccurate meters. And you say you spoke with the company about it, but what gave you the indication that it was inaccuracy on the part of the company? Was that verified for you in some manner?
Yeah, the reader comes by and he doesn't really, he or she, I want to be fair, he or she doesn't accurately look at the numbers and get them precisely down. So some days or some months, your bill might be $130. And then the next month, it's $228. And then the next month, it's $172 because they're not really looking for precision. And the numbers are always.
Is that discrepancy, the discrepancy in the bills, is that the reason that you find there to be inaccuracy?
I find that to be one of the components. I think the bill that I believe that what we're paying for holistically at the base rate is way too high. I think we could get a better deal if we were to be annexed by the city of Charlotte or the city of Pineville, which are both options on the table for us. And I feel like that the discrepancy is over $100 a month. And then you add on top of that the fluctuation of their misreading of the meters makes it impossible for a family to consistently budget what their resources should be on a month-to-month basis. When we came into this neighborhood 27 years ago, we raised two daughters here. They are gone. It is just me and my wife here. And we still see a very expensive water bill when we're paying attention to the fact that our toilets are not leaking, we don't leave our hoses on. We are on an incline that if there was any kind of other depletion of our water supply, it would show up on my driveway or at the base of the hill in which we stand. Because I've seen that countless times in other parts of the neighborhood when there have been other issues. This is also coming down to a management and stewardship of resources issue.
All right, Mr. Mahaffey, are there questions, follow-up questions on the commission's questions?
No
question. All right, seeing none. Mr. Mahaffey, thank you for your testimony and you may be excused.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you all for your service. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye. Next witness, please. Are we able to find our next witness?
Hello?
Hello, please state your name for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Frank Pierce, and I live at
Just a moment,
4015.
just a moment. Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
All right, and now Mr. Little will walk you through some identifying questions.
Yes, did you say your name was Mr. Pierce?
Yes, Frank Pierce, P-I-R-A-S.
Thank you. Mr. Pierce, tell us your address and whether or not you're a customer of Carolina Water Service.
I live at 4015 Deer Track Trail in Carolina Trace subdivision. And I have water and sewer with Carolina Water Service.
Thank you. What would you like to tell the commission tonight?
I've been living in Carolina Trace at this address for 6 years, and to date we've had numerous rate increases by Carolina Water. At the same time, the service quality has been very poor. There have been numerous water line breaks followed by days on end where we're under a boil water advisory because the water is not drinkable. My wife and I have to keep bottled water on hand in case we have breaks because it happens without notice, obviously. Where I lived at previously near Hickory, our average water bill for 2 people was $25 a month. We now average $170 a month. And I do not see how that could even be possible. Where I lived at before, we did not even have a single line break or service interruption. I feel it's to the point where the reputation is such that people won't even want to live in this area because of the water prices being so high. Carolina Water does not need nor does it deserve a rate increase. If anything, we deserve a rate decrease. That's it.
All right, Mr. Little, do you have any follow-up?
No follow-up.
Any other questions for this witness?
None here.
All right, Mr. Pierce, thank you for coming out tonight, or rather showing up on your remote access means, and you may be excused.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Next witness, please.
Hello, is that me?
Yes, would you state your name for the record, please? Hello? Did we lose him?
Hello?
I hear you now. Can you hear us?
Yes, I hear you fine.
Please state your name for the record, please.
Sure, this is Elmer Perkey, E-L-M-E-R-P-U-R-K-E-Y.
All
My
right,
wife and I,
just a moment, do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Little has some questions for you.
Mr. Perkey, we need your address and the area you live in and whether or not you're a customer of Carolina Water for water or sewer or both.
We're a customer of both. My wife and I own 2 condominiums up at Sugar Top on Sugar Mountain, 303 Sugar Top Drive.
And what would you like to tell the commission tonight?
Well, I just wanted to reiterate that I'm in agreement with everybody else that's seen that thinks the water prices are exorbitant and outrageous. Our electric bill averages about $60 a month, and our water bill's over twice that every month. I've traveled extensively all my life, lived in a lot of different places, and I've never lived in a place that the water was higher than the electric bill until now, or on the place until now. And it just seems so unjustified. I didn't realize until listening to some of these other people testify how much it's increased over the last few years, evidently. But it's just extremely high, and I just can't. I'm trying to figure out what the justification is for that. I wish somebody would, if you're going to ignore what everybody is objecting to and increase the rates, that you would at least give us some kind of a justification for it, some kind of documentation showing why Carolina waters should be more expensive than water anywhere else. I can't find another place that's so high, and it just seems to keep going up, and just can't figure out what the reason is. We have to keep boiling water. Nobody seems to be happy with the service, and nobody's happy with the rates. What is the justification for continued increase in such a high price for water? I mean, it's just water, right?
All right, Mr.
It's
Little.
just mind-boggling. That's all that's the main thing I just wanted to add.
That's all. No further questions, John.
Any other questions for this witness?
No questions. Thank you.
Mr. Perky, I would encourage you, as I have others, to follow along with these procedures. Everything that's filed in the docket is publicly available, pretty much. If it's not, it will indicate so. And as I said earlier, the company will be filing a response. I encourage you to read that. It should be available in a few short weeks. And you may find some of the answers to your questions there, as well as when the public staff will be filing its recommendation, having audited the claims and information that it gets from the company. And also, when this matter is finally concluded, there will be an order that explains, as it is in every rate case, that explains the basis for the commission's decision. And with
Well,
that,
I appreciate that, and I appreciate you giving I appreciate you giving the public time to listen to us anyway. Hopefully, they will actually hear us.
All right, and with that, there being no further questions, you may be excused.
Thank you.
All right, next witness, please.
Good evening. Hey, old man. I know you hear me. I know you can understand. Okay?
All right. All right. And would you please repeat your name for us?
Johnson James.
All
from
right.
North
And do you,
Carolina.
all right. And do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Hello?
Yes, hello.
Hello?
This is Anna Valdez.
All right. Are you with the gentleman who was just speaking to us?
Yeah, sorry about that. He had my other phone piece.
All right. And so would you please repeat your name?
It's Anna Valdez.
All right, Ms. Valdez, do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
All right, Mr. Little?
Yes. I'm just,
Mr. Little, just a moment.
Just one moment, please.
Oh, sorry.
Commissioner Brown Bland, Staff Attorney Menashe Margarita is going to be taking over for.
All right, Mr. Margarita, go right ahead.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Brown Bland. Ms. Valdez, what is your address and subdivision?
Ms. Valdez?
Yes.
Could you hear the
Hello?
question? Yes, did you hear the
Yes.
question? Okay.
Yes, I did. Yes, my address is 5400 Swartzman Court, Knightsville.
And what subdivision is that?
I'm sorry?
What subdivision are you living in?
It's a Covington Crossing.
Okay, great. And are you a customer of Carolina Water?
I am a customer, yes.
And do you receive just water, just sewer, or do you receive both services from Carolina Water?
It's both. I got both.
Great. Please proceed with your testimony.
Yes, over the past years, I've had to increase on the rates, and I wasn't complaining before, but now it's getting a little bit excessive considering that the base charge alone is about $87 a month, just a month, just to have it. So plus adding an increase on the usage, that's kind of crazy. And I only have, it's only me and my other brother who stays here. So that's kind of a high price for us homeowners. And it's right now with the market being how it is, I can't even move nowhere else, honestly. And it's kind of pushing me out the neighborhood for that reason, because the water is just crazy high, which I don't understand why it keeps going up. We don't see no improvements like other people said before. So there is some justification on it going up consistently. That's all really I had to say, honestly, because I agree with the other ones too. With the rest of our customers and homeowners, I also agree with them too. It's just crazy. My parents pay for water and garbage, it's like $67 a month for everything, and that's like a house of 4. So that's just kind of insane on the pricing. And again, I can't go nowhere else, sadly to say, with a water service because it's only the one that's only offers here. So it kind of gets frustrating. It's hardship on us house owners to keep up with that increase yearly. And that's all I had to say, honestly.
All right, Mr. Margarita, you have questions?
Just one clarifying question. Ms. Valdez, you mentioned that there had been sort of no improvements in the service. Are there specific water quality issues that you've experienced at your house?
Honestly, I have never drinking water out of the faucet for the reason that it's like we get notices every now and then to boil our water, and I don't want to risk it. You never know. So I don't. The quality, it's okay. It's not the best water. So improvement-wise, I mean, it's the same. Therefore, I don't see the reasoning of the increase.
Gotcha. Thank you. No further questioners.
Any other questions from this witness?
No questions. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Valdez, thank you for testifying, and you may be excused.
Thank you.
All right, next witness.
Hello?
Hello, would you state your name for the record?
My name is Lucila.
All right, and do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Absolutely.
All right, Mr. Margarita has questions for you.
Lucilla, do you prefer Lucilla or Morales Vargas?
Oh, you can call me Lucy or Vargas is fine.
Okay. Lucy, what is your address and subdivision?
My address is 5909 Presentation Street in Nidale, and it's Covington Cross as well.
Okay, thank you. And are you a customer of Carolina Water?
I am a customer. I receive water and sewer as well.
Great. Thank you. And you can proceed with your testimony.
All right. I got so much to say, but I am kind of glad that we are all together agreeing to the services that Carolina Water offers. I've been in my residence for almost 15 years. I'm a single mother of 3 kids. When my kids were here with me, my service was around, I would say $90 between water and sewer. I'm a firefighter. I'm out of my house 3 days out of a week, and it's only one daughter here. My water bill is over $150 a month. I'm looking at the fees and I'm comparing because unfortunately in my subdivision, we stopped with this company. It's not like we can go somewhere else because for some reason, this is the company that they decided to contract with. But I'm comparing the rates with Raleigh, City of Raleigh Water, and their fee is $2.59. Why my fee per gallon is, I'm looking at the bill right now, it's over $8.50. Right now I'm paying $8.27 for 1,000 gallons and $4.59 per sewer. So every time that you call this company to either get an adjustment or, because I do believe that Raleigh if you call them, for example, I pressure washed my house last year. I was billed over $300 for water and sewer just because I pressure washed my house, which I understand. I called this company and I told them, listen, the sewer I didn't use because the water went underground. Can you at least give me a discount or meet me halfway? No. Call Raleigh, and Raleigh, they definitely meet the customers halfway, and they do not charge them for sewer when they do the project in their house. I called this company again yesterday because I need to pressure wash for my house, and absolutely, they are not willing to meet anybody halfway. I want to know, why am I paying $8.27 when other people are paying $2? I'm only making $13 an hour. How can I afford $8.27 when I only make $13 an hour? I mean, this is ridiculous. I do not agree with their increases. I definitely don't agree, and I hope that they do not increase these, because I will definitely be putting my house for sale. Thank you very much for your time.
All right, Ms. Vargas, hold on, let's see if there are any questions for you. Mr. Margarita?
No questions from the public staff.
All right, any other questions for this witness?
No questions from the company. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Vargas, thank you for sharing your testimony with us tonight, and you may be excused.
Thank you. Have a terrific night.
All right. Next witness, please.
Commissioner, that appears to be it.
Thank you, Mr. McCoy. Mr. McCoy has checked the lines, and there are no other witnesses waiting to provide testimony. So to those of you who may be watching and are still with us, again, this matter is set for December 7th, evidentiary hearing, and the company will be filing responses to what it has heard here tonight from the customers. Are there any other matters to be taken up by the commission at this time, council?
From the company. Thank you.
All right. There being nothing else remaining, we will stand adjourned. Thank you all.